Children are not Nazis intrinsically, though they have been chaperoned in an insecurity and unavailable knowledge, where their self-confirming archetypes, and an implied way out, has made virtue out of their expulsion dedicated to projection of themselves, in perceived control, towards focally in an attempt to impress and create an image of something that from elsewhere is intended for an affirming of an ideal. These domains themselves descend from an already yearning and grasping level of people's not understanding what they are seeking, but the domains themselves represent their own human still, even when humanity is lost. A grave error has been made when our young women's first impulse is to commit suicide at the invalidation of a power to make someone else an alienation to themselves and commit suicide at the promise of, "I will give you all of this and more, if you give me a business." Though a suppression and a result in isolation present, still, you interpret suppression in context with what you don't possess context to understand. And you have become the instrument of the suppression, weaker to a limited degree, extended a consciousness to you as children, and emerging dynamicisms, under no assumption that everything and everyone is only so incapable of considering your being at all, but power is gone, because men have nothing to be afraid of anymore. Because our young men exist in an existential dissonance with what they have been gravitated and isolated in thought for till it becomes focal, in a ravenousness on behalf of the isolation. And all they have to measure themselves against apparently is you. If you would like to understand anything empowering again, step into the future asking about what is not perfect, about people, by observing your thoughts before you leap. You will be more attractive this way and you will find less to strain over this way. Exist in the world, and without the malicious subjectivity of saying so. Within your relative place in it, as a being, amongst other human beings. Believe it or not, it's half the upmanship of a wisdom compared to the rest of arrogance. You are not in control, and that's okay. The isolation from our own unprocessed perspectives among either domain is now sensitive as a result of some attempts at minds encompassing and gaslighting. Although they know where their natures stand more than young women do at the moment, weapons are otherwise what a focally and locality of something worth leveraging on someone else's MJND in predation. In an attempt to aggravate, misdirect and suggest or straight up push them to suicide. See an emphasis on Pokemon song or magic cards as descriptions of things in isolation on the once receptive yet still able mind, sex with him subjects, when something where a first-person subject correlates with a predation and a vileness, icky things, with an increasing apprehension, which is always there, in an interpretation of control, and an invalidation, that topic bearing more trickiness elsewhere. Culturally, these compressions are an increased isolation from nuance. People don't like introspecting, they are predated upon by interests, but there's a problem, the control is not actually there. It deforms, but it is not there to own. Weakness and strength have been very myopic issues in polarity. People's minds are multifaceted and a constant from their own engaging of their experience as a psychological being, even when it's developing and out of sight, already imperfect, unformulated, misunderstanding and defending, anxious and empathizing when room permitted. You are only ever the inquiry into one, from yourself, even when there was a time when we were closer, we are now a little more able to be mindful of what we know can have these intentions upon the mental. Preserving the permission to know where that mind in its qualities can go understand and engage itself. Cut off and conjuring as it is, we left behind a means to see and remember where the horizon has intent among the mental. Not just where downing a pedo ring insensibility made for public and paramitered reasons. But those are intersecting things as well.